10 minutes. We left Joseph selling the world bread because famine had come upon the earth, which of course means down in Canaan, where Joseph's brothers lived, they didn't have any food either, and they were starting to feel the pinch. Jacob told his 10 sons to go to Egypt and buy some grain. Joseph's full brother Benjamin stayed behind with Jacob. When the brothers arrived in Egypt, Joseph saw them. They didn't recognize him. It had been over 10 years, and he looked like the most important Egyptian around, because he was the most important Egyptian around. When he saw his brothers, Joseph remembered the dreams, but then anyway, he handled them roughly and spoke with them through an interpreter. You guys look fishy to me. I believe you're spies. You've come to find our weak spots so you can go up and come back and attack Egypt. They humbly replied, "Oh no, we're honest men, all sons of one father. There were 12 of us, but one died. The youngest stayed at home with our father." Joseph had his interpreter answer, "Fine, you bring me the young one at home and I'll know you're not spies." He put them in prison for 3 days to think about it. They were brought before Joseph again, and Joseph announced, "Here's the deal. I'm keeping this one." He pointed to Simeon. "The rest of you take food and return to your father. If you come back without your youngest brother, you won't see my face. You will be immediately and permanently incarcerated." The brothers didn't realize Joseph could understand what they said. Reuben said, "What did I tell you guys? The whole Joseph affair is blowing up in our face. We are guilty of his blood, and now we're paying for it." At this, Joseph quickly left and went back into his office to cry in private. Joseph had his people load sacks for his brothers. He told the Egyptians to put the money his brothers paid for the grain inside the opening of each sack, and to provide ample provisions for their trip back to Israel. On their first stop out of Egypt, one of the brothers took his sack down and found the money. "Doggone it," they all cried. "Now they're going to think we stole the grain." When they got home, they told Jacob what had transpired in Egypt. Jacob was not pleased. They decided to hold tight and hope the drought would end. The famine didn't get any better. When Jacob's grain ran out again, the conversation between him and his sons got testy. "Why the heck did you have to even mention Benjamin?" wailed Jacob. "His brother Joseph is now dead, and now you want to take Benjamin. If anything happened to Benjamin, that would be it. I'd die the same day." Judah answered, "Dad, that guy in Egypt is sharp. He got whatever information he wanted from us. Still, we need food. So send Benjamin with me, and I'll take responsibility. In the time we've been sitting here yakking about it, we could have been to Egypt and back." Jacob was livid. "I have no choice. Take the boy, get the food, and get back here. If we don't do it, we're all to die anyway. Take the ruler, a sampler of nice things from around here. Pack it with balm, honey, aromatic gum, myrrh, pistachio nuts, and almonds. Take twice the money you need. Take the same amount that was left in the sacks and enough to buy the new load. May God protect you and grant you success." When Jacob's sons arrived in Egypt, the brothers were told to come to Joseph's house at noon. When they were nervous because the money left in the sacks on the last trip. They approached one of Joseph's servants. He said, "Don't worry about it, your God is with you." Then he brought in Simeon, the brother who had been left in Egypt. Now the brothers were seated in Joseph's dining room. They were arranged from the oldest to the youngest. They looked at each other in astonishment. Joseph did not eat with them. Food was delivered from his table, and Benjamin's portion was the biggest. After lunch, Joseph ordered the Egyptians to prepare sacks for his brothers. This time he had his own silver cup put in the top of Benjamin's bag. The next morning, the brothers headed off. They were followed. The Egyptians stopped them and demanded, "Why have you stolen our master's important cup?" The brothers responded, "Hey, we didn't steal anything. Go ahead and search. If you find it, the one who has it will die." You can guess what happened, right? Anyway, here it comes. So the Egyptians searched each bag from the oldest to the youngest and found it in Benjamin's bag. They were escorted back to Egypt. "What have you done to me?" said Joseph when they were brought before him. Judah came forward and pleaded, "Sir, we can't leave the boy here. He's the youngest of us and his father loves him so. He loves him even more because a wild animal killed his brother. And if he loses this son, he will die on the spot. Please take me instead of the boy." Joseph couldn't fool them any longer. He sent all the Egyptians out of the room and cried, "It's me, Joseph. I'm your brother. You sold me to the caravan. Your intentions were bad," because they beat him up too. "But God actually had a very important plan for me. This is how God will see our family through this terrible drought. There are going to be 5 more years of drought. You all will need to be here in Egypt. We have plenty here. I'm in charge of everything. Our family can be reunited. Go back and get Dad and all you possess. Bring them here to Egypt. I've got a nice place picked out for you out on the delta. It's fertile out there during the drought. You won't bother the Egyptians." The brothers were sent back to Jacob with a very nice caravan. It was designed to bring Joseph's father back down to Egypt in style and comfort. When Jacob heard the whole story, he could hardly believe it. Jacob had a night vision. God said, "Jacob, I am the God of your father. Don't be afraid to go to Egypt. I will make you a great nation there, and Joseph will shut your eyes." We'll go on with the rest of Genesis tomorrow. You know, it is a moving story, and you know, continues to be one filled with, I mean, I remember from yesterday, Judah and Tamar and that whole affair, ejaculation on the ground and killing a whole city of circumcised men and taking their women and children. The patriarchs are not a shining example of morality, and morality is important. They had to pay, their actions caused them trouble. But it didn't change God's opinion of them or the promise God made to them. I just want to point that out. In the Bible, God doesn't make a lot of comments about the moralities of the people that He's chosen. Just saying, we haven't heard it yet. 10 more minutes. That was episode 10.